Hi there, it's Jen, and it is sometime in January. I'm not sure because I'm filming this ahead of time. As you can see that I'm not live, but I wanted to still give you a video while I was recovering from my surgery. So I'm going to flip the camera around in just a second and we'll get started making a card project. Normally what I do is I do a draw from the card project or whatever that I made the week before. And the way I get the people to put into the draw is anyone who has commented, liked, and shared. So I'm still going to do that. I'm just going to do it later. So still comment, like, and share this video, and then I will catch up on all the draws when I'm back live again, okay? So without further ado, let me just flip over the camera here. And the first thing I want to do before I show you what I'm even going to work with is show you a tip on cutting a piece of cardstock. So this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. Just gonna move the camera over a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to score it for first at 5.5, which is the measurement that I would do. Oops, and I just touched down my cutter. I don't think it actually cut. Yay. So the lighter of the two colors here, this one here is a scoring blade, the lighter gray, and I'm just going to score it a couple times, and then I'm going to turn this, and then I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4. Now this is not the typical card size that I do. This is what I call the hot dog version. So that's cut at 4 1/4. I end up with two long skinny pieces. Okay, as opposed to when I cut it like this, and I'd score it at 4 1/4. So just so I'm clear here, what I did was score it at 5.5 and then cut it at 4 1/4. And that gives me two card bases. And by scoring it first, especially in this orientation, it makes it super easy to fold. See the fold line there? This is kind of the what we call the valley, the dip in, and this is the mountain, the dip out. So I'm going to now fold it in on the valley, and I've got a perfectly scored and folded card, and I've got two of them. So the stamp set I'm going to work with today is called Mixed Florals. It's got these beautiful large floral images and these adorable little ladybugs. There's 3 of them in there. And you can get it as a bundle. So let me just open up and show you what the dies look like. So there are, it's probably easiest if I pull these out so you can see. As always, there are a couple of dies, these ones here, that cut out the larger images, and this one here, and this one here. And then there's a bunch that will cut out the ladybugs, which is great. So you can stamp multiple at the same time, and then add, cut out a bunch at the same time. And there is an extra die too, this one here, which I'm actually going to use today as well. So I'm going to so these are part of the online exclusive collection is what I wanted to say. So you won't find them in the catalog, but they are available online. Always with those, they're while supplies last, but it just came out beginning of January, so this should be around for a little bit, I hope. So I'm going to start with this beautiful flower image. Now I've got it here on an E block, and I've just turned it sideways a little bit so it fits. And I take my black Memento ink, and I'm using this ink because I'm going to be using my blends markers, and this is the best ink to use with the blends. I'm stamping this all over. I'm kind of squishing it in a little bit just to make sure it is well inked, and then tapping it to make sure the ink is evenly distributed. So I'm going to just stamp this on a piece of basic white, pressing down. I'm not worrying about positioning because I am going to die cut that out. Now, another little tip is when I'm stamping something like this, I'll usually do 2 or sometimes even 3 at the same time, because that way, if I make a mistake on one or I decide I don't like the color scheme or whatever, I've got another one there ready to go. So, okay, so we'll do that. Close that up. And I'm going to bring in some blends markers. So I have here a bunch of colors, and I'll tell you what they are as we go through them. So I'm going to start with my light fresh freesia. This, looks to me like it's a daisy, but I think it could be a Gerber daisy, or maybe an echinacea or something like that. So and I love purple, so I am making it purple. So I'm going to color it first with the light fresh freesia, and I am using the brush tip. This tip has been well loved, so I'm kind of turning it around as I use it, because to keep it kind of firm. When it gets to the point that it is really worn and frayed, I'll either flip it over and use the other end, or probably by then it'll run out of ink anyways. And these blends markers are not refillable, but they're $15 for the pair of 2, a light and a dark. So they really are just consumable products. Okay, so there's my layer of fresh freesia down. And I'm going to take the dark fresh freesia. So this is the one that would come with it. And I'm going to add some color here. Just assuming it would be darker near the middle of the flower. So there we go. You can see that. So you can see a bit of a line there. So I'm going to go back in with the light fresh freesia and just blend that out. You know, you can do these blends markers in any kind of a way you want. You can go dark to light, light to dark. Now I'm not seeing a whole lot of variation in the color now. There's a little bit, but I'm going to go back in now with the dark and add that color back in again. And because there's lots of color on there, it's really saturated, it's going to blend a lot better. So let me just hold that up. You can see the lines a lot less now. It looks more blended. So well, I've got that and it's wet. I'm going to take the light Highland Heather, which is a darker purple, and I'm just going to add that around. I'm going to use the bullet tip on this one. Oh, this one is dry. Let me grab another one. Hold on. Okay, so here's a light Highland Heather, and I'm just adding that around that flower middle because I want that to be just a little bit darker. Okay, so let me just color the smaller one the exact opposite way. So I'm going to go in with the dark color first, the dark Highland Heather, and then I'm going to do the dark fresh freesia just down part way. Now these are alcohol markers, so they will dry quite quickly. So that's why you want to work fairly quickly with them so that you maintain the ability to blend them. So now I'm just going to add that light color all over top. And in a smaller area, this might actually, I'm going to just switch to the bullet tip just because this is a smaller area and I don't want to brush outside. This might be the easier way to do this. It might blend a little better without having to go back and forth. I don't mind going back and forth because I love coloring. So there you go. You can see that one. You can see the variation in color. Really no lines. There's still a little bit of lining showing here, so I'm just going to add a little more. The beautiful thing is you could keep going in and in and in. So you can see it's just a little bit darker up near the top. I feel like I want this one to be a little darker up near the top. So I'm going to add a little bit of color there. Okay, so it's beautiful so far. So let me go in. Now I've got the dark lemon lolly, and I'm going to color this whole piece here. And I'm going to do this one at the same time too. And then I'm going to go in with the light wild wheat. And the artist has actually told us here how to color this by putting those little dots. Let me just hold this up so far. On the edge of the flowers. So they're indicating that's where it's going to be shaded more. And then I'm going to just go in with the dark wild wheat and really add a lot more darkness on that one side. And again, if I felt there was too much of a line there, I could go back in again with the lemon lolly and smooth that out. But I think I like that shading there. Okay, next I'm going to use Balmy Blue. So this is the light Balmy Blue. And I'm just simply going to color all these little wee flowers. So again, when you get this stamp set, you can color this whatever you want. These could be daisies, so you could have, you know, white petals or yellow petals. And then these little flowers could be pink or whatever you want. You could have the same stamp set and make a million different colors of these flowers. I really like the blue and the purple, and I'll show you why in just a second. I finished coloring that, so I'm going to come in with the dark Balmy Blue now, and I'm just going to color the center of the flowers where there's already a black dot. It's very subtle. Let me hold it up so you can see. Some of them are done and some of them are not. You can see just a little bit more shading on the ones I've done, and it's just pretty. I could do more shading on these if I want to, but this is enough for me. Just want to pull in my color wheel here and show you. You can read all the things about color theory and all that kind of stuff, but blue and purple are together right beside each other on the color wheel until they're complementary colors, and they just look really nice together. So that's why I'm using a blue and a purple. Okay, next I'm going to go in with the light Granny Apple Green marker, and I'm going to color the leaves. Again, I think I'm just going to switch to the bullet tip just because it's a small area. And I'm just going to color all of these leaves. Do you like coloring? I find it very relaxing. If I need to de-stress from anything, coloring is the thing I would do. And I will hold this up in a second because I realize my hand is probably blocking this. And I'm not a fancy colorer. You know, there's lots of techniques you can use, but with these blends markers, they do the work for you. So you don't really need to fuss too much and go technique-wise. Okay, so now I've got the dark granny apple green. Again, these are the pair that would come together. And I'm just adding a line on each of these leaves, right where the line is. I'll just hold that up so you can see. It's fine like that even. You could just leave it like that, but I'm going to go back over with the light blends marker and just blend that out a little bit. And that'll add just a bit of darkness to the center of those leaves and make them a little more natural looking. Pretty. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of light green just where the flowers or the stems meet the flowers. And then I'm going to go in with the dark granny apple green and the bullet tip. And I'm going to just do the big stems. Okay, like so. So I'm going to just going back in with my light, and I'm just going to blend where that line is. And then I'm also going to go over all of this greenery. Oops, I missed a flower there. Let me go back. I could leave it black if I want to, but I think it looks nicer just traced out and with the green. So I'm able to pick up anything I missed. So let me just hold that up, and then I'm going to get that little blue flower that I missed. Okay, so there's one little blue one I missed. It doesn't have a center, that's why I missed it. Okay, so there is my image colored. I'm going to do one more thing to color this image, and I've got a light soft seafoam marker here. And I'm just going to go in between all the flowers and around roughly, because I'm going to die cut this out, and it doesn't cut out the very center. Let me hold it up so far so you can see. It's just shading that a little bit, just so it's not going to be stark white on my card, because all this inside stuff here especially will not get die cut out. The die cut goes around the image, but not in the very inside, of course, because it would just not hold together if it cut out all those pieces. So I'm not taking a lot of time, as you can see. It's very rough. I'm just going to go around here a little bit too, because it does leave a little bit of a white border on the die cut, and I just want this to really blend nicely into my background. You could take more time with this if you wanted. I'm just trying to take away the whiteness of it. So let me hold that up. You can actually really see it compared to the other flower there. Okay, so I'm going to pull in my machine, and I'm going to die cut that, but I'm also going to show you one other thing I'm going to do when I have the machine out, and this is called the Plaster Painting 3D Embossing Folder, and look at the size of it. This is a regular standard card size, and it basically fits the whole thing. It is massive. So I'm going to actually take a whole piece of 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, that's right, yeah, and put it in there. And I'm going to emboss the whole thing at once, and then I can cut up little pieces that I need for this card. So let me just pause this and get the machine down. Okay, so I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I have plate 1. Can't see it there because it's turned around. Plate 1. This is what comes with the machine. Plate 2 also comes with the machine. Plate 3 also comes with the machine. A piece of cardstock. This is Lemon Lime Twist, which reminds me I forgot to do something to my flowers, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to just put this here. This is the extra leaf die that comes with this stamp set, with this bundle, sorry. And then another plate 3, which you can also get with the machine. And then this runs through like this. Now this is a pretty intricate die. It's got lots of little pieces, so I'm going to run it through a couple times. Make sure everything is well cut out. So next I'm going to take the exact same sandwich, plate 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take the matching die and position it in place. I've got a piece of my removable tape here. This is on my website under products, under Jenn Recommends. It's from Amazon. And it is removable tape so it doesn't damage the actual image. And I'm going to position this very carefully. Once I feel I've got it in the right spot, I'm going to tape it down, cat hair included. I've just switched my plates out here. This is a fairly new plate. It's clear. Whenever I'm working with a white, I tend to like to use a cleaner plate just so I don't get any muck on there, cardstock bits or whatever. So same thing, I'm just going to run it through a couple times. And finally, while we have this machine out, I'm going to do plate 1. I've got the embossing folder that we put with the cardstock inside. It goes there. There's no other plates there. And then this is plate 4, which also comes with your machine. I put this in seam side towards the machine and this on top. I don't use any of these other plates for this. And away it goes. A little thicker. Here we go. Okay, so here is the first piece. Look at that awesome texture on there. And you could use the other side if you want to. So we'll cut that down in a second. And then I've got this piece here. I'm just going to carefully peel that tape off. I often just save that tape and reuse it. Beautiful. And then finally I have this piece. Now one of the tricks that I do when I have something really intricate like that is I take this die brush. You can actually get the brush and the little foam and you can roll it. And it just, not sure if you can hear me, it just helps get all the bits and pieces out. So you can see it's still kind of stuck in there. Roll it out. It's just coming out. Now, if you don't have this, what you can do, and what you might need to do anyways, is take your pick tool and just poke. All these little things along here are poke holes. So you can poke. It doesn't appear on the design, just allows you to poke that out. And then you should be able to, I've got one piece that isn't coming here. Actually, I made a card with this and I had accidentally ripped part of it, but because there was so much greenery, I didn't worry about it. Yeah, and I've got one little piece that didn't come here with that, but that's okay. There we go. Oh, maybe, oh yeah, it did. It just cuts out the inside there. So beautiful little accent piece I'm going to use. Move this all aside. Well, the part that I forgot on these leaves was I was going to add some lemon lime twist to the leaves just to brighten them up. So I've got here lemon lime twist light, and I'm just going to add some of that in the center. I don't know if it makes a whole lot of difference, but it does bring in that color a bit. So. Okay, so next I have this piece here. My blue is going to go on here, so I need to trim down my cut piece. And I don't remember the measurement on this, so we'll just measure it here. Get rid of this paper. The reason I use the paper is because when you're coloring with the blends, you can see it sort of leaks through on the other side, so you want to protect whatever surface you're working on. So this, I know it's 5.5 inch long because it's going to go the full length of the card, and it was cut at 3. So to do 1/4 inch, I'm just going to go down to 2 and 3 1/4. So I need to make sure this is 5.5 first of all. It is, and then 2, 3 1/4. Now I didn't quite cut that end there, so let me just cut off a little bit of the end. Flip this around. 2 by 3 1/4. And I'm going to cut a couple more at the same time because I've already got that one stamped. I might as well make another card, right? 2 and 3 1/4. So I got 3 out of those. Now these are thicker. Sometimes you get a little fuzzy edge. It's very slight there. I probably wouldn't worry about it too much, but I'll show you one more trick here. Get rid of my trimmer. You can just take a light sanding block. This is like a nail sanding block. You can sort of see I don't know if you can see that there, but I can see a little bit of fuzzy edge there on that. And Again, not a big deal. You can pretend it's part of the texture. Okay, so I'm going to keep one of those back. And let's put this card together. Okay, so I've got my embossed piece here. I'm going to add some tape. I am going to put the more embossed side out. And there's like a little pattern at the one end. I think I'm going to put that on the bottom. Just feels, oh, and I got a nice string on this one. See, that's another one that needs a little bit of, it's probably time for me to change that trimmer blade. Is what, when I get those little frays, that usually tells me it's time to change the blade. And you can get refills for those from Stampin' Up. Okay, and then this piece is going to go on here. So this card is just a little different in that it opens up from the bottom to go to the top. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add, okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of tape right here. And that's where this greenery is going to go. You're not going to see that tape in the end. It's going to get covered up. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece and add some dimensionals. I've got a sheet here that is almost finished, but I can still use all these good bits here. I'm just going to add that in there. Okay, and I'm going to add this piece right here. So pretty. And then I've got some of the Fresh Freesia seam binding ribbon. This is something you can get for free with Sale-a-bration. Look what I just did. I put my card on upside down. So that's a lesson. Make sure that when you are putting your card on, you've got it opening the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big tool. I'm going to take this little spatula end, and I'm going to remove this like this. It's not too cemented on yet. My goal here is to save the top part. If I wreck the bottom part of the card, that's not so bad because that's not where the work is, right? So I'm going to kind of go around all the edges. This is a bonus lesson. So, oh, I did pretty good. So I'm going to turn this around. So yeah, before you lay anything down, just check that your card is opening the right way. Okay, so I'm going to add more tape here. And put this on. If you wanted to, you could use a ruler to make sure that you have it even on both sides. I tend to like to eyeball things here. Whew, okay, rescued. So I'm going to take some of this really pretty seam binding. It's Fresh Freesia, so it's going to match all of our colors. By the way, this is Fresh Freesia, the purple matte and balmy blue. So I like to leave things on the spool as I'm working, just so that I don't use more than, I don't cut off more than what I need. So I'm going to tie a bow. This is beautiful to tie into a bow. It's nice and light and airy ribbon. I'm going to go a little bit longer. So it's a really easy ribbon to tie a bow with if this is your first time tying or if you have trouble tying. So I'm going to start by tying in a knot. So I just kind of hold a finger down there, but you could, you know, put a pair of scissors or something in there to hold it down. I'm going to start with the knot. I'm all thumbs when I'm on the video here. It's because I can't see it. I don't have it pulled close to me. I have it pulled so you can see it. Okay, so like that, I'm going to just double check that my inside is flat, and then I'm going to tie a bow. I am doing this upside down. Sometimes I find it makes a better bow, but also just because I ended up with this on my left, so I kind of have no choice. So I start by just tying a big, loose, loopy bow, and then I start pulling it tighter to make it prettier. So I pull the ends, and then I pull the bow shape. Now I actually do want this to be kind of a big bow, so I'm not going to pull too much here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my ribbon scissors. I always keep one pair of scissors just for ribbon, so I have a little ribbon on those and cut that. So see, I haven't wasted any there. Now I have a little bit here. You could save it if it was a big scrap. I'm cutting this on an angle so it frays less, plus it looks prettier. So that's so pretty already. Now we need a greeting on this. I don't always put a greeting on the outside, but I often do. So what I thought here is some little die label shapes that I've already pre-cut. They have a nice little stitching on them, and I'll show you where they're from. They're from this die set here, which is called Unbounded Love. They're in the main catalog, and it's got all these shapes of different dies. They're great for greetings. Love that. It actually goes with this stamp set, Unbounded Love, which I'm going to use the happy birthday from it, because this stamp set, Mixed Florals, has no greeting in it. So you can pair it with whatever you like. So I'm going to take the happy birthday and fresh freesia, and I'm going to stamp. And now this is photopolymer, so it's pretty easy to line this up. I often will stamp and then die cut, but with photopolymer it's very easy to line this up. Okay, so I did this twice on the same theory that if I messed one up I would have another one, but also I'm going to try a little technique on here. It may or may not work. If it doesn't work, I'll show you one that did work. So I'm going to take Highland Heather, which, remember, that was our accent color that we used. And I'm going to ink it up again. Now, because I'm going from a lighter color to a darker color, it's okay to dip it back into the same ink. Now, I'm going to try, and you guys won't be able to see this because my head might be in the way, but I'm going to try and line this up almost the best I can, and then I'm going to just shift it, just like a smidge over. So the idea is, oh, and it pretty much worked, that I would end up with kind of a two-tone looking greeting. That's pretty good. I think my sample, it's a little tighter, so I'll show you that. This may cause you to be get dizzy. I don't know. So let me show you my sample one first right now, and you can see the difference. I think I like this one better. It's not quite as 3D-ish as this one. I don't know. This one, I think I'm going to stick with just the plain one for this, and then we can actually compare them anyways. Okay, so because this is already raised up, remember the flower's raised up, on this part here, I'm only going to put adhesive. Okay, and then on this part here, I can put dimensionals. Otherwise it would be lopsided. I don't know, I kind of like that one, but I just, it's not quite as tight as I wanted it, so here we go. Very pretty. Okay, so a couple other things I'm going to do to this. One is I'm going to add some Linkostella, and this may or may not show up in the camera, but I'm just adding it to the center of the yellow flowers and just dabbing some of the blue. Let me hold that up. I'm not sure if it'll show on the camera or not. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, but we're going to add some more bling. Also for Sale-a-bration, you can get this package for free. It is called Purple Shimmer Gems. You get it free with a $75 order. It's got petunia pop, fresh freesia, bubble bath, and then a white, but it's kind of an iridescent white. They're very pretty gems. And I did fresh freesia on my original sample, so I think I'm going to try just the white this time, and we can compare and see, because this white has almost like a pinky color in it. So I'm going to get, so you always want to go with odd numbers, and then I'll show you the other one too. So yeah, you can really see still the white on there, and plus it's just shimmering, which is really pretty. And then you can really see the pink in that one there, which brings through all those pink and purple colors. It's a beautiful card. So here is my original sample. So you can see here, first of all, the fresh freesia gems. They do stand out a little bit more. So, but just to show you that, you know, you can use up all the gems in the package. I do think I like this darker greeting more, but this one, if you didn't see this one, would be perfectly fine. The other thing you may or may not notice on this one is that I have colored this flower just a bit darker. And the other thing is I've added an extra layer. So I stamped another head of the flower on there, and I've added in there. So there's actually a double layer. So it's like almost like 3 layers of flowers in there. So that's another thing you can do, which is super pretty. But again, this one alone, if you didn't see this one, you would think it's just absolutely beautiful. So that is what I have for you today. Please let me know if you watch this video. I'm sorry I can't be live with you, but I'm in the process of recovering from my knee operation, but I thought I would still give you this video here to watch. So thanks for joining me, and check out come back in a week and I'll have another video for you. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.